Tuesdays are my request evening. Thursdays are stories I like to bring to you. I don't know what's going on with the hair here. Don't cut it off. I know because it's live. You're going to be like, oh, I don't want to watch this. But once I start, I don't stop. I'll just wait for a couple of people to join. And then once I start the story, there's no chopping and changing. If you want to watch me over on TikTok, I'm over there. It's Jess Rose 5472. Or this story will go up on my pre-recorded ones at the weekend without all the chit-chattering of the live. But like I say, the story itself, I don't chat in that. I just get on with the story. So I'm just going to hang on and see if a few people join, and then I'll start. Thank you. Or if you'd like to join my Patreon, it's patreon.com/JessRose5472. Thank you so much. Hey, Warwick, how are you? How's it going? How was your weekend? Hey, Phil. How you doing? Tiffany's not doing good lately, is she? She's normally the first. I don't know where she is. She's slacking is what she is. She's slacking these days. But did we have a good weekend, guys? Did we do anything exciting? I don't know what's going on with the hair here. There's a whole bit going on that I don't think's belonged to it. Don't think it's belonged to the fringe. But anyway, there we go. Did we have fun? Guys, I don't even know if Tiffany's going to join. I haven't spoken to her today. So I hope she is. I hope she's seen my post. Still suffering from the wedding. She could possibly be. I'm okay. I'm not too bad. I've got to admit, I wasn't too bad. Had a couple of drinks once I got home. And that's where it kind of got to the point where it's 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm dropping off to sleep while I'm talking midway. But yeah, it was beautiful. They were a beautiful couple. Honestly, it was lovely. It was and their friends. I realised how old I am now because their playlist. I didn't know a lot of it. I didn't know a lot of the words, the songs. So I realised how old I was on Friday. How you doing, Jilly? How are you? I was just talking about my brother's wedding that I went to on Friday. It was beautiful, but I was just saying at the reception, there were so many young ones there. I just didn't know a lot of the music. I didn't know it. I didn't get it. I danced a little bit, but not too much because I didn't know what I was dancing to. But it was fab. I mean, their friends were lovely. It was great. It was great. And they had like a barbecue food thing outside, which was amazing. It was like burgers and chips and all this sort of stuff, like a bit like people cooking it. But it was I thought it was a really good idea, like skewers and things like that. It was very different to a normal wedding buffet. I thought it was very nice. So yeah, so that was my weekend, recovering on the Saturday and the Sunday. And then just getting myself straight, really. That was my weekend. But yeah, I don't know if Tiff's joining us this evening, guys. Unless the phone's not working, maybe. I am. Do you know what? I think it is, Warwick. I think I am. I just don't, my mind doesn't seem like I am or feel like I am. I think I am, though, because I genuinely did not know 90% of the music that was being played. I didn't know it. It sounded good. It was good music. I just didn't know what it was. So yeah, I think I might be out of it now. So unless it's from the 70s, even 60s, I love a bit of 60s, 50s. I can do with the 50s. 50s to 90s and maybe early 2000s, but anything beyond there, yeah, it's lost on me, unfortunately. It's completely lost on me. I don't know it. And I don't like that. I don't like that because I always used to know every song and I don't. Elbow's still elbowing. Oh, here she is. Here she is. Late. Didn't think you were coming. Is he still kicking you? Why? What's going on? I was just showing off my elbowing still. Look. Look. It's getting bigger. It's getting much bigger. Some people won't dance if they don't know who's singing. No, I don't. No. No, that's what I was saying. I liked the music. So I did dance, but I just didn't know what I was dancing to, I should say. And then it all became very, very loud. And I've always been like that, though. That's not an age thing. I've never been into like heavy house or techno or what's the other one? Dubstep, is it? Garage. Any of that. That's never been for me anyway. So that's not an age thing. I've never been on that train. So I've got the lingo though. I'm not on that train. Oh, I'm so sad. Oh, I'm so sad. It's a real shame. I'm coming on Steve's PC, see if that works. Okay. What now? Or are you on it? Do you mean you're on it now? But you can't keep getting kicked because I didn't even know if you were joining, and I won't dance till I'm on my second bottle of wine. Tiff, what kind of song do you call this? Yeah, Jilly, on it, actually. I've got to admit, every now and again, you can get me up without a drink in me, but it's for maybe one song, and it's very awkward. It's sort of a bit like this, and this is fun, face. But yeah, it'll be the one song if I've been dragged up, and then I'm straight back to my table, and it's like, get me a drink now. So it's that kind of thing with me. Older than you, Phil, but in many ways much younger. Oh, we're starting already then. Okay, so you're on it, sis. So are you good to go now? Are you all here? Are you? Are you? I'm so sore. I've got to stop waving it about. Got doctors tomorrow, guys. So hopefully they can give me an injection and I'll be House of Love. Woo, woo. Yeah. I joined as you came on, started talking, and got kicked over. And oh no. Yeah, because Warwick and Phil beat you. They beat you. House of Love. That's the first one, weren't it, with their dog, where they had a little staffy in the video. oh God, I'm such a loser. It's so sad, but yes, I remember all my E17 references. Yes, I do. Oh dear. So, are we prepared for this one tonight, guys? Are we prepared? I think I am. I think. I wouldn't say think then, and I pull myself back. I think I am. But we shall see once I start. Yeah, I'm more important though, so YouTube wants me gone. Possibly, and you know what? I think that's the same with me and Warwick, because he doesn't like us communicating whatsoever. You sure it's not House of Fun? Could be. Oh dear. Yeah. I think that's what it could be, sis. It just does not want this going ahead at all. I don't know why though. But we're gonna keep rebelling. We're rebelling against the YouTube. It's what we're doing. I don't know why I'm flattering myself so much. They probably have no idea who I am. I would definitely say not. But there's something going on. There's something very odd going on. But I don't swear. I don't swear in my video. Well, very rare. I've got over 800 likes on a comment. Have you? Oosh. Ooh, look at you. I don't think I've ever had 500 likes on anything. Phil ain't gonna lie. That sounds a bit Savile-like. Does it? I didn't even clock that it might be Savile-like. We don't talk about him. He's just, ugh. I remember even before all the crack came out about him, it was like, oh, God. I never understood why people thought he was this great guy. I was like, oh, God, he always looked like a sleazy old man. Always did. I don't think the guy was ever young, wasn't he? Phil started. He did with the comment. Yes, he did. So, okay. I'll give it ya. I'll give it ya. Right, guys, I'm going to start. I'm going to do my, because this is going to be a little bit of a long one. Well, it might not be. I'll say. I think it might be, but sometimes I say that and then it's not. So, I'm going to start if you're ready. That song was about Johnny's. Oh, God. I'm leaving yous to it before I start saying things out loud to people. Okay, so I'm going to do my second intro and then we're going to start, guys, okay? So, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Kelly! Oh, my God. Hi. How are you? Oh, God, I was just about to start. I was just about to do my second intro. And here she is. How are you? We've missed you. We've been wondering where you've been. But I am just about to start the story. So I'm going to leave you to the group who have not changed and are just as brutal as ever. So I'm going to begin. So, oh, it's great to see you back, Kelly. Right, okay. Let's go. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my... Oh, Jessica! Every time I start, someone else pops up. How you doing, Jess? Are you okay? Oh, I was literally just about to start my second intro. That's twice now. It's like, hi. I'm going to leave you to the guys. I'm going to start. Okay, right. Definitely going to do it now. That was really brummy, that right was. Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It's True Crime with Jess Rose. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Tuesdays are my request evening. Thursdays are stories that I like to bring to you. God, I need to go. Excuse me. I'm over on TikTok, and that would be Jess Rose 5472. Or you could join my Patreon, which is patreon.com/Jess Rose 5472. You could subscribe, which would be fab. Or you could just watch. You could just watch, and I'd appreciate that just as much. And now that we've got all that out the way, I'm going to begin the story. If you know this one, yeah, that's all I can say. If you don't know this one, prepare yourself. But there we go. That's the only warning I can give you. Okay, so the Southport monster, Axel Rudakubana. Okay, Rudakubana. I'll say it like that, and then I'll say it properly. Oh God, I got that messed up. Didn't know it right. Okay. Anyway, so Axel Muganwa Rudakubana was born on the 7th of August 2006. I am going to begin with this guy. Not something I normally do in these stories. But as he was so young, that's how we're going to start the story. Okay. So his mom, Letitia Mazzari, and his dad, Alphonse Rudakubana. He did have one older brother, Dion. Now, Axel's parents, they moved to Cardiff in Wales in 2002, okay? And they actually moved from Rwanda. And as a couple, they were escaping Rwanda. They were escaping from the Rwandan genocide. Now, this had happened over a 4-month period, in April to July 1994. And in that four-month period, there was between 500 to 800,000 people, men, women, children, murdered, slaughtered. Okay. Now, Axel's dad, Alphonse, was a soldier for the army on that side, trying to put an end to what was going on out there. And his mum, she had to actually escape to a church um, with some of her family. And they managed to stay safe, but she lost an awful lot of the rest of her family. Sister, I believe. You know, between them, they lost a lot of family members in that genocide, okay? So they obviously came to Cardiff in Wales for a better life. And as I said, that was in 2002, all right? Now, they had Axel's older brother, Dion, in 2004. And then went on to have Axel in 2006, as I've said. Now, the neighbours that they lived around said they were just a normal family, just a very, very normal family. The boys were just normal, boisterous lads. The mum and dad would say hi, you know, they were never particularly noisy, never really got into any trouble. And the neighbours just said, yeah, they were just normal. So that was Axel's early life in Cardiff. Now, Alphonse got a job in Southport, okay, and that's a seaside town, and it's the metropolitan borough of Sefton in Merseyside. And so the family all moved there in 2013. Now, at this point, Axel's about 7, okay. So they move up there. Now, okay, he's been moved away from what he knows. His brother's older. His brother's at a more he'd have had friends for longer, I suppose, but they adapted and they got on with it, and it was all going well. And Axel himself, he showed a real I'm trying not to smile when I'm talking about him, but I'm talking about him as a very young child, and he showed a real love for acting. Okay. So even though he was quiet, he, like I say, he had this gift for acting, and his parents wanted to push that. So in 2018, at age 11, at this point, he was already enrolled at Pauline Quirk Academy to take his acting lessons. And he was getting on well at school, he was doing well. And around this time, he also, for the BBC, he done an advert for Children in Need, playing like the 10th Doctor Who in a character in it. And this was he was cast by the Ology Kids Casting Company. Okay, that's who cast him and sent him, and yeah, he done this advert, and I'd like to say you'd be able to see it yourself, but you can't, because the BBC have scrapped that advert. There's no proof that ever happened, except the fact that it's everywhere elsewhere online, so you can see, but not through the original means of being able to see the advert. Anyway, and Ology, I'm not too sure how to pronounce it, but the kids casting company, they also got rid of any videos they had of Axel from his early acting debuts and classes. Okay, now Axel went to Range High School, so it'd be a secondary school, from 2017. Okay, now he started out well. He was quiet, had a little friend group, quite a little friend group, and he seemed to be doing well, though, as he had all the years through. Now, I don't know. I know I've got my own opinion on it. I think this early on in the story, I might keep that opinion to myself, but a change came about in 2019 when Axel was about 13. Okay. Now, he'd had his summer holidays. Now, don't forget, he turns about, his birthday is always in the summer holidays. It's in the August. So when he comes back to school, in 2019, like I say, he's turned 13 now, he's back to school, and there's a change, quite an obvious change in him. that the teachers are baffled by, they're quite confused. And he he was quite angry, this very quiet, unassuming lad. When he came back from these summer holidays, he was angry. He believed he was being bullied. He believed he was being racially profiled. Now it was 2019. Like I say, I'm just going to say we know there was a change in the internet around that time. That's all I'm going to say, okay? He believed he was being racially profiled at that time. There's no proof of that actually happening. I won't say it didn't. I can't say it didn't. I'm just saying they're saying there was no proof of that. He believed he was being bullied at that time, and he goes to teachers, and then he got to the point where he was quite aggressive. He'd storm out of the classroom to the point where there was kids in his year that when they got annoyed and wanted to storm out the classroom themselves, they would call it doing an Axel. He was actually became his own meme type thing. And the teachers were very baffled by it because he just changed so much. It was a real switch. Now we know teenagers, they go through massive changes. We know this, but this wasn't that. This was a complete 180. He was very, very, very different and very, very angry. Okay. Now on the 4th of October 2019, so he's only been back a month. He's only come back to school a month. He calls up Childline, okay, and he asks them, what should I do if I want to kill somebody? Right, okay. And when they were talking to him, as they do, they were like, what's going on? And he was explaining he was being bullied, he was being racially attacked and profiled. And, he just said, I want to kill somebody. I want to kill my bully. Well, this was referred to the police. Of course it was, because it was quite an angry phone call. This wasn't just a cry for help, although it could have been. So they did send out the police, because maybe it could have been. Maybe that was just a child lashing out, maybe. Okay. So when the police came out, this led to Axel being temporarily expelled from school. Well, excluded from school, should I say. But then, very soon after, he's permanently expelled from the school when he reveals that he's brought a knife to school over 10 times in the past month. Now, I don't know, was it before? But it seems to be in that past month. Something's happened. There is some switch, and I don't know what it is. Now, I'm blaming the internet. It could have been something at home. I don't know. It doesn't appear to be home life, but we don't know. Okay, so I'm throwing all like this out there, and I will say it is my own opinion. That's all it is. Okay, so we get to the 17th of October 2019, okay? And Axel is sent to the Acorn School, and it's a special education school, okay? And in November of 2019, so a month later, he's actually referred to Prevent. Okay, now Prevent is a specialist. It's where specialist police officers in each police force look into and investigate they're an anti-extremism department, basically, and they look into terrorist threats and extremism and things like that. And each police force has got that particular department. It's called Prevent. Okay. Now, the reason in November, and bearing in mind he's only just joined this special education school, The reason they're brought in is because he was seen watching school shooting videos in his IT class, in class, and showing people and telling them to come and have a look. That's what he was watching. So this is why I brought up the internet, from his summer holidays and everything else that might have brought about that change. Okay. So on the 11th of December 2019 now, Axel, he went to his old school. Do you remember Range High School? Okay. He goes there with a hockey stick. Okay. He's not letting this go. Okay. So he goes there with a hockey stick, and on the hockey stick, on the L part, he's written some students' names and teachers, and it's believed these are the people that he believes are bullying him. Okay. Again, like I say, I don't know. We know bullying goes on. It's right. I don't know if it will ever be put out of the school system. Kids are cruel. We all know that. So that's what we're told, and these names were written on the hockey stick. Okay. And he goes into the school and he starts wielding this hockey stick around to the point where he ends up breaking the wrist of a child. I believe it was a girl, but don't quote me on it, okay? And he carries on thrashing this hockey stick around until a teacher detains him and kind of apprehends him and ties him up until the police come, because the police have been called. When the police come out, they also find a knife in his bag. Okay. So in February of 2020 now, so this would be 3 months later, he's obviously been apprehended. He pleads guilty to the assault of this, I believe it's a girl. Now at this point he's 14. He's only 14. All right. Now March 2020 comes, and we know what time of year that was, don't we? We know what happened in that time frame. So after what had happened, and because he pled guilty to the assault and everything else, the Acorn School refused to have him back. Okay. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like he was still only 14, but then they have to protect the other kids. And if you know this story, we can see why. So they refused to have him back. Now schoolwork was being sent home to essentially be homeschooled. Not that he really did it. Not that he really did it. This gave him the perfect opportunity to just sit in his room, in his little coven, in his little hovel, and just stay on the internet. He didn't even have to interrupt that by going to school. Okay. Just constantly on the internet. All right. Now we get to February 2021, and he's now 15. He's diagnosed with autism. I've heard it said today once, I believe, the same thing I'm about to say. I'm not going to mention that again, because that, with regards to this story, is neither here nor there. But I will mention it, because he was diagnosed. But that's as far as I'm going with that part, that subject. Okay. Now, also in 2021, he's referred to that Prevent team. Do you remember the specialist anti-extremism department? He's referred to them twice more, because he's found to be researching London terror attacks and the Rwandan genocide and the Libyan dictator Muhammad Gaddafi. I probably haven't pronounced that right. He'd uploaded pics of hymns to Instagram. You might be like, well, how did they know? It's because he was sharing this information. Even with all of this, because what it was with this anti-extremism department, they're looking for you know, extreme but religious beliefs in a sense, um, or just something that they can be like, right, this child, man, woman, whoever it might be, is being not I suppose brainwashed in some way, and they become extreme in their beliefs. But even though his parents were Christians, okay, which they were Christians, his parents were, even though they were Christians, I believe they were Catholic in Rwanda. When they came to Cardiff, they switched over to Christianity and they became Protestants, I believe. He didn't believe in anything. He said he was an atheist and said he didn't believe in any of the religions at all. Okay. So they couldn't find a reason to, I suppose, investigate him anymore. So the case was closed for the third time. Okay. So the police are called to the home again a bit later on in 2021 because he's attacked his dad now. Now he's 15. He's not exactly a big lad. I won't say he looks like a hefty lad, but he's still 15 years old, and his dad doesn't look that big either. So he's attacked his dad. He's kicked him. He's what's the word? Oh my goodness me! I've lost the word, and it's not even a hard word. He's damaged the car. My God, he damaged the family car. Okay, so the police come out, talk to him, wash their hands a bit, and off they go. Ridiculous. Now we get to September of 2022. He's now 16. He's doing a sixth form enrollment, but from home still. So he's still in his little hovel in his bedroom, just from morning till night, just taking in just the most amount of violent content. Really, really violent content. He's looking at beheadings. He's looking at the Rwandan genocide itself that his family had escaped from. He's not looking at it as the people who had escaped from it. He's looking at it from the people who had done the murders and the slayings of these innocent people. He's just watching the worst content imaginable, and it's warping his mind. Okay, I just can't imagine that kind of content for a teenager anyway. Okay, so 22nd of July 2024 now. All right. He's 17 at this point, and don't forget, he's nearly 18, not quite, he's 17. And he books a taxi, all right? He books a taxi to go back to the Range High School. So this is, 4 years after he'd had to leave that school, after he'd been expelled. He wants to go back, all right? He puts on a green hoodie, pulls the hood up. He's got, one of the masks that we all had to wear, the blue and white throwaway ones. He's got one of those on his face. And when the taxi comes, his dad happens to be in the house, and he sees the taxi pull up, and he runs out, and he basically begs the taxi driver not to take him. And he's like, and the taxi driver apparently was like, I don't really want to get involved in a family matter. And he tells Axel to get out of his taxi. A neighbour did say she then saw, she saw this bit of a commotion, and then she saw Axel and his dad kind of talking on their drive for a couple of minutes, and then they go into the house. Now, it's believed his dad might have had an idea of why Axel wanted to go back to his school, given the fact the last time he was there, he broke a girl's wrist with a hockey stick. I believe it's a girl. Still saying that, won't say for definite, but it was definitely a child. So he would have known he was up to no good, but he didn't call the police. I don't know if he checked his bag or anything, what he had on him, or checked his person, but he didn't call the police. Okay. So we get to the 29th of July 2024. Okay, not even a year ago. All right. Wearing the same clothes that he was seen in the week before. So the green hoodie, pulled up, the mask. Okay. Axel was seen outside his house pacing from around 6 a.m. that morning. Just pacing. The neighbours were a bit baffled because they didn't really see him that often. Remember I said he's very quiet. They rarely saw him. They'd see Dion. No, Dion seemed like your normal, popular, outgoing lad. Axel, not so much. And they were, that he was noticed. Mind you would if you saw someone pacing outside their house at 6 o'clock in the morning for hours, in and out. So, now, I'm just going to come away for just a split second, all right? And I'm going to talk about a place called the Heart Space, okay? Spelled H-A-R-T, all right? And it's called the Heart Space Community Studio, all right? And in this studio, they teach yoga and there's mother and baby classes there. There's pregnancy classes there. There's, one of these sort of everything for, I wouldn't just say women, but it's one of these places you can learn, you can do yoga. You might get a Zumba class there, these kind of activities. All right. But also in this space, they teach sort of little girls dance classes as well. Okay. So this was on Hart Street in Mills Cop. That's the area. And if I describe it to you, it's on the first floor in Norwood Business Park. Okay. Now, as you go down sort of a drive, right, you've got the building in front of you. To the left of a door, there's a big window, and that's an office space there. Now, then you've got a door, and then to the right of that door, depending on what way you're looking, but face on, to the right of it, there's another door there. Now, that door leads upstairs. Now, as you go up those stairs, there's a hallway, and then it leads into the dance room. Okay, so that's the Heart Space. Now, it's a girl called Leanne Lucas and her friend Heidi Liddell. They sort of run a lot of the classes there. Now, I've seen Leanne. She looks very young. She looks very sort of early, maybe mid-20s, but she does look very young. But it's her and her friend that run these classes, okay? Now, at one of the classes that they're done with the little girls, one of the little girls suggests, can we do like a Taylor Swift one? They're all little Taylor Swift fans, or Swifties as they're called, and the girls got quite excited, and she's like, okay, fine, fair enough, we can do that. So Leanne puts out on Instagram that there's going to be a Taylor Swift workshop for kids aged 6 to 11. Okay, so she had years 2 to 6, so that's age 6 to 11. Okay, on the 29th of July 2024. Now, the day is a Monday, and the class will run from 10 till 12. And what it'll be like a dance class, and then the kids will make like friendship bracelets in sort of the second half of the class. Okay. Now, by a couple of weeks into it, after posting this on Instagram, she had 26 kids booked for this class. They were so excited. These kids were. They really were. They were so excited to go. Just to just to dance and have fun. And like I say, huge Taylor Swift fans, so this was just their ideal class, okay? But unfortunately, someone else saw that poster that was put up on Instagram. Okay? Now, like I say, while Axel was, pacing, if you remember, I said that was also the 29th of July 2024. So we come to 11:45 a.m. All right? Now, as the class were making their little bracelets, because if you remember, I said the second half of the class would be making these little friendship bracelets, and they're all sort of around the table. And like I say, they're little girls. I didn't hear there was any boys in the class. I do believe there was just girls in this class. But they're all laughing, they're having fun. And one of the little girls, a little girl called Alice, her name is Alice De Silva. Oh God, I can't find Alice De Silva Aguar. Okay, that's her name. Well, this little girl, I've seen pictures of her. Beautiful girl, beautiful smile, known for her smile, known for this beaming smile. Okay, she said it was the best day of her life. That's what she says as they were making these bracelets. Okay. Now, at 11:30 a.m., okay, so 15 minutes before that, Axel had got into a taxi, okay, and he'd asked the taxi to take him to Hart Street, okay. And when he gets to the street, he asks the driver, where's the Hart space, where's the dance class? And the driver's kind of, now the reason I know this is you've got a lot of taxi drivers now, taxis, they have, video recording equipment in the car. They have cameras in the car. So the taxi driver's sort of pointing out where he can go. And then the taxi driver says cash or card. And he's quite quiet in the back with his mask and his hood up. And he doesn't respond. And the taxi driver says again, cash or card. And he just gets out of the car. Okay. Now, Axel went from the directions that the taxi driver had given him. Now, it's only a little road. This isn't a big road. Well, it's not a wide road, should I say. So when he gets out, as he walks down, now, if you remember I was saying there was a drive. Okay. Now, what he did, he went down a drive that was to the left of that. And that drive led to Master's repair shop. All right. So it's kind of mechanic's place, and there's a couple of fellas there working. So as he walks down that drive, the taxi driver follows him. He wants his fare, of course he does. So the taxi driver pulls up and he kind of gets out of the car and he's like, what are you doing? And the seeing this kind of thing going on outside the repair shop, one of the guys comes out and he's like, what's going on? And the taxi driver's like, he's just done one, he hasn't paid me. So they're like, you need to pay him. And Axel just turns around and he's like, what are you going to do about it? Just like that. And then he walks away. So he walks back out of the drive, does a left, and then goes down the drive where the Hart space is. All right. So the taxi driver still, he pulls out and he follows him down that drive. And it's on the camera. You see him walk up to the office that I was telling you about, tries that door, and it doesn't open. So then he goes to the right of that door. Remember I said there was another door. And you see him walk through that door and go up the stairs. Okay? And in his hand was an 8-inch kitchen knife. Okay? And now, so Leanne, now remember, she's up there, she's having fun with the girls, her and Heidi are. But it's Leanne who, just before this had happened, had gone to open one of the windows and she'd seen a lad walking down the path with this green hoodie on and stuff. And she hadn't thought anything of it. So when she was sat back at the table and she sees this same person coming in to the dance room with the hood up and the mask on. She says at first she thought he was a parent. Okay. And then Axel just begins, well, he grabs the first little girl that's beside him and he just begins stabbing her and stabbing her and stabbing her. And then he moves on to the next child and starts stabbing the next child. He doesn't say a word, he doesn't speak, he doesn't make a sound, but he just starts stabbing these little girls. Okay. Now, Leanne, she said she didn't even realise what was going on at first until she got over there, realised what was kind of going on. Tries to tell the kids to run, turns her back, and then she was stabbed. Now, she was stabbed 5 times in the head and the back. Okay. Now, even though she was stabbed, whether it was adrenaline or what, she managed to get the kids and she was like, get out, the fire escape. She was telling them all to get out as best she could. Okay. Now there was CCTV footage of one little girl who managed to get out, who was dragged back by Axel and stabbed. Heidi, obviously Leanne's friend, who was also teaching the workshop, she saw a little girl run and go into the toilet. So she ran in after her and, of course, grabbed the little girl. I can't imagine the fear of both of them. Locked the toilet door and just sat there, obviously waiting, not knowing what was going on. Well, knowing what was going on, but not knowing what was about to happen. Was he going to come in? And it said that she could hear these little girls screaming. And, she's doing her best to try and protect this child that she's got with her. Oh, it just seems absolutely awful. Now, the little girl that was dragged back, that was seen on CCTV, she was actually stabbed 32 times. Now, that little girl did actually survive, even after being stabbed. 32 times. Put these poor children. Now, the first 999 call was put in at 11:47. Okay. Now, I believe it was Leanne. That put in the first call. Now, a man called Jonathan Hayes. Okay. He was working in the office downstairs, and a member of his staff actually ran over to him and he says, look, and he pointed out the window and there was a little girl lying on the floor outside the entrance that I mentioned to you, with blood all over her. So, and they're hearing these screams, and they're not the screams that they'd heard half an hour beforehand of excitement and fun and everything else. These are gut-wrenching screams. Okay. And he runs to see what's going on, comes face to face with Axel, keeps him far enough away, but tries to, he tries to get the knife away from him. And he doesn't realise, when he's got no power to do anything, that he's actually been stabbed in the leg. He doesn't realise until he falls back. Now, it just missed his femoral artery. And one of the office workers was thinking quick and tied it up, and so he ended up being okay, but he couldn't actually do anything then. All right. Now, at this point, I believe Leanne's outside. Okay. She's kind of propped up in a car, and 2 men are just driving down the road. They're working and they're driving down the road, called Marcin and Joel. All right. And they just happened to notice her head sort of behind this car and saw she was covered in blood. Okay. Also then could see these little girls just screaming in front of them. Now, the little girls I'm talking about are the ones that Leanne had managed to get out of the fire escape. And there was a neighbour that had seen all this commotion. It happened to be in his garden, that got all these little girls in his house. Now, Marcin and Joel are looking at Leanne and they're like, what's going on? And she's like, all she could say was, he's stabbing the kids inside. He's stabbing them. He's stabbing them. And she was on the phone to 999. So Joel takes the phone off her and talks to 999, but he's like, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so as they both then walk down to the heart place now, Marcin helps who we now know is Alice de Silva, okay, who's 9 years old. And Joel runs towards the building and sees Axel with the knife. Now, he says what it was, he didn't know how many people were up there. You know, he's on his own. He's got nothing, you know, he's got no weapons himself. So he says those 10 minutes, and based on the time of the call, it would have been about 8 minutes by then. But those 8 minutes seemed like forever until the police got there, okay? Now, the police actually get there at 11:57, okay? They arrive as the parents are starting to arrive. Don't forget, these parents are picking their children up at 12 o'clock, all right? So the parents are seeing kids screaming. They're seeing kids with blood over them. One of the parents had managed to get a couple of girls in a car, but one of them was covered in blood. I think it was Marcin, sorry, happened to help. There's so much, it's absolute bedlam. It's crazy. Parents don't know what's going on. They can just see blood everywhere. No one knows what's happening. So when the police arrive, the first one goes to walk in and Joel's sort of showing him, and he's like, you can see it on the police's vest, and he's going, I don't know how many's in there, and he's like, there's at least one in there, and he's like, where's your gun? And the police officer's like, what? And he's like, you need a gun. He's got I think he's got a knife. He's stabbing kids, he's stabbing people. Because don't forget, Joel doesn't really know what's going on fully either. 2 seconds later, another police officer comes with a taser. So they go in first and Joel follows them. This is just a man. Him and his pal are just driving around. They're at work. They're driving around. I don't actually know what they do, but they were driving around. And he follows them up the stairs. Now, when they get up there, Axel is standing over a 6-year-old little girl. And this 6-year-old little girl is BB King. Okay. They order him to drop the knife, which he does. He's very compliant. Does as he's told. They arrest him, bring him outside. And Joel, while he's there, grabs BB, who's on the floor, and brings her outside. As he brings her outside, the ambulance has just pulled up. They run over together. And he's like, please, help her. Okay. And at that point, Axel turns around and he goes, I'm glad to see those kids are dead. It makes me so happy. And the kids he's talking about was BB King, the little girl that Joel had brought outside. She was known to be sweet and kind and spirited child. She loved Pink, but most of all, she loved her older sister, Jeannie. She loved her. And that's the little girl that Joel had brought outside, who'd been stabbed 122 times. She'd been stabbed in her head, in her face, in her torso. Tried to decapitate her. That's what they believe he was trying to do. She was 6 years old. And obviously, as I've said, she died at the scene. Now, another little girl that died at the scene is Elsie Dot Stankham. Okay? 7 years old. Loved parties, enjoyed life, loved life. Okay? She is an amazing little girl. Her parents says, she loved dancing, as they all did. And she was a little cheerleader. She was with a little cheerleading troupe and everything else. She was stabbed 85 times in the head, face, neck, and torso. 85 times. And died at the scene. And then the little girl who'd said it was the best day of her life, the little girl who'd managed to make it outside of the building before she collapsed, little Alice, who was 9 years old. She'd made it outside and they got her to hospital, but she died in the early hours of the next day. And it said that she'd been stabbed 4 times, but she'd also been chopped to her head. Now, this little girl, I've seen a video of her. It looks like possibly she might have been doing a YouTube video where she's showing off makeup. Adorable. Adorable. She'd made her first Holy Communion not 2 months beforehand. And she died the next day. Now, along with Baby, Elsie and Alice, okay, who he murdered, he'd also managed to seriously injure 8 other children. And, I don't know if it's because they hadn't died. I don't know what I thought, because we haven't heard, and we don't know any names. We don't really know much about these other little girls, but they were in critical condition. All of them. They were stabbed multiple times. One nearly lost her. I think she had to have a spleen taken out for her to live. There was one that had just missed her spine. They were stabbed in their back, head, all in the same areas. And Leanne and Heidi and these 8 little girls were taken to hospital. Like I say, they were in critical condition. The last child was actually only discharged after 10 days in the hospital. They were very, very poorly, the other 8 little girls. Now, Leanne herself, she was readmitted on the 15th of August into hospital because she was having difficulty breathing, where she had to have lung surgery. And she wasn't discharged till the end of August. Leanne wasn't. Now, I saw an interview with Leanne, and like I say, she looks so young. Now, I could have it really wrong, but this girl looks early 20s to mid 20s max. And she really struggles to get through that interview without a heart breaking. She said she was very close to all the girls, all of them, but I believe it was Elsie in particular, because she was tutoring her at the time, but she was close to all of them. It's just absolutely horrific. I can't imagine the parents. Joel said that when this was going on, because he'd brought Baby out, he had parents coming up to him and going, "My child was wearing this, have you seen my child?" And he's a dad himself, and he says, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say to anybody. Can you imagine dropping your kids off for this dance class that, Alice was, it was said that she was bouncing off the walls that morning, so excited to go. That they had been looking forward to this from the minute they'd heard about it. And I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I can't imagine being him, having to look at these parents and not knowing what child he would have seen, or carried out, whose parents what that child belonged to. I can't imagine that. Now, on the 31st of July 2024, Axel is charged with 3 counts of murder, 10 counts of attempted murder, and 1 count of possession of a blade. Now, because he's under 18, or he was at the time, he wasn't ID'd. His ID wasn't disclosed to the public. Now, I think we know what happened, if you remember. Because they wouldn't disclose his ID, there was a so-called news channel that was an online one, that was believed to be an American news channel that just loved. Now, I've got to admit, the sayings of misinformation, disinformation drive me crazy. I hate those sayings. I hate them. But this is what this channel was known for. And this particular channel released, it was a Pakistani male name, okay, basically saying they believed that this who it was. And the fact that the police wouldn't release anything about Axel at all, other than 17-year-old male, that it was just what do you call it, a powder keg? Is that right? Of just this emotion. Now, there was a vigil the next day on that road for the 3 little girls and all the little girls who'd been hurt, and for all the girls, for all of them, that quickly blew up. Okay. And you had people and it wasn't just there. It wasn't just in Southport. It was across the UK. I believe it went all the way to Ireland. And did it bring out the dregs of the earth? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. I've seen it with my own eyes. People walking around with tattoos and swastikas on them. I've seen that. But they were the outliers of this protest. The majority of the people there were just sick of the hiding of something so vicious and something so bad. They were just so angry that the police were hiding the information. That's how they felt. They felt that it was being hidden from them. And then the fact of the online so-called news source releasing obviously a Pakistani male name, it automatically presumed then that the murderer and the attacker was a Muslim. It then led on to a mosque being set fire to, and police vans being set fire to, and it was bedlam. And then you've got now, I don't know if this story will even go up now, but then you have the likes of Keir Starmer coming out and just tarring everybody with far right. Now, like I say, I only saw one person. He was quite a big, burly type guy without his top on, with the swastika on his back, okay? And he just looked, ugh. But that's the only one I saw. In all the footage that I've watched, in all the research that I've done, that's the only one I saw. But okay, let's say there were out and out racists out there, let's say. But we know they're the outliers. The majority of these people, they just wanted to know what was going on. And Keir Starmer just tarred them all. Everyone was tarred, far right, racist, let's just lock them all down. And that really didn't help. And it's began to take away what had happened to these 13. I mean, 11 little girls and their 2 teachers. It just took it away. And let's not forget the other 15 little girls that are now traumatized for the rest of their lives, and the girls and the kids that lived, and Leanne and Heidi. There's just so much damage that was caused, and it was taken away, and it didn't have to be like that. They could have released his name. They could have done that. And I don't think that would have happened. Okay. So due to the unrest, these restrictions were lifted on the 1st of August 24. They were lifted quite quickly. Okay. And like I say, with Keir Starmer, like claiming everyone was far right and everything else. But the public were told this was not a terror attack. Okay, so first of all, yes, the restrictions are lifted, but what's the photo they put out? What's the photo they show? They don't show the one we've all seen now of his, I don't know, I'm presuming if it's his mugshot. No, they show his little one where he's Doctor Who. And they show his other one where he's in his school uniform when he's about 11. It's just so disingenuous. It was just, I can understand the anger and I can understand the frustration. Okay, I just can. So they, it was just ridiculous. And like I say, they then tried to say it wasn't a terror attack. But then we come to October 2024. Axel's charged with, he's charged under the Biological Weapons Act of 1974 and Terrorism Act of 2000 for possession and production of written and a PDF copy of a military study of Al-Qaeda's training manual, which is illegal. And it's a document they believed he'd been in possession of since 2021. When he, what age did I say? He was about 14, 15? I think 14. Now it said that resin that was found under his bed. It said that had that been rendered, it was raw, apparently, still dangerous, still poisonous. But had it been rendered, if I'm saying the right word, there was enough there to kill up to 12,000 people. We're not terrorism at the time, no. We're going to wait until we think it's quieting down before we charge him with that. Is that what we're going to do? They'd obviously took all his devices and online history and everything else. And that's when they found all the videos he'd been watching. Look, they were sickening. That they also saw that just before he left the house on the 29th of July, he'd watched, and you do see it on the camera, you see him walk out of his house and you see him come back, and it says it was at that point when he came back to his house before the taxi came. He'd gone in to watch the stabbing that had happened in April of 2024. I don't know if anyone remembers it, when a priest was doing a service and it was being zoomed, and a guy comes in and stabs the priest on the altar. He goes on to stab another 5 people, but he blinded the police. Don't know if anyone remembers that last year, but he was watching that, and they're saying he was watching it to psych himself up for what he was about to do. And yeah, like I say, there was these videos of beheadings and rapes, and they still don't believe there was any religious extremism behind it, because he would show on these videos and everything he was viewing, there was a mocking of all of the religions: Islam, Judaism, Christianity. He was an out-and-out atheist. He had no love for any of the religions, apparently. Now, could that be misinformation as well? I don't know, but that's what's said. Okay. Now we come to December of 2024, and he pleads not guilty. And so then you've got Leanne and Holiday and all these little girls, some of them that had sisters that were attacked in there. One sister got away, the other sister was attacked, all having to prepare for this trial. And, you know, having to speak to solicitors and relive it all. And, you know, that this is only a few months later, and I don't know what I'm presuming they would have had to have a counselling over this time, and I don't know what the recovery time is, but they're having this build up. And he waits till January of 25. He waits another month before he decides to change his plea to guilty on all charges. So he puts the kids and the families through the stress of thinking they were going to have to sit through a trial. And apparently it was pending for like a 4-week trial. And he pleads guilty. Okay, now at his sentencing, he ended up not being at his own sentencing, because while he was in the court and the families are in the court and everything else, he starts saying he feels sick and his heart's hurting, his chest's hurting. Okay. And he's taken out and he's checked over by doctors and he's brought back, but he's so disruptive. And he's like, don't ignore me, help me, in the court while he's waiting for his sentencing. The judge was like, just get him out of there. Get him out. So the judge actually hands his sentence down while he's not even in the dock, okay? Now his sentence was 52 years. I don't know what to say. It's saying that a whole life order couldn't be given because he was 17 at the time, even though he was turning 18, a week later or something, 10 days later. But he was given 52 years. That's when he can apply for parole, which won't be until he's 17, 2077. Okay. Now, it said that with regards to a whole life order, it's not just that he was 17 and, you know, could they have given away the week because he was 18 a week later. It's not that. It's they don't normally give a whole life order unless they're above 21, apparently, unless there's extenuating circumstances. Again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And then they would do it between the ages of 18 to 21. But the fact that he was 17, so bringing it back even further, the judge, you know, said he couldn't do that. And he's not done, because on the 8th of May 2025, allegedly, he threw boiling water over a prison guard. Now, he's in HMP Belmarsh. It's apparently the most high security prison we've got in the UK. Why has he got a kettle in his cell? Why has he got a kettle? I don't understand that. Why has he got a kettle? What, should we just give him a knife to use to cut his cake? I don't understand why he's got a kettle. But it's only allegedly, apparently. There was also rumours that, you know, some men in the prison had got hold of him. That wasn't true, unfortunately. But we can only hope, you know, they get hold of him soon. But yeah, just a really, really awful case that I've been following all along. And obviously I knew when his trial had finished and everything else. I know it's still very new, and I wasn't sure whether to do this story, but I had been asked, and it's just it's so sad. It's just so sad. As for the you know, the what is it, you know, lessons will be learned and the inquiries and everything else, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I haven't even written it down. I didn't want to write anymore about changes that I couldn't bring myself to say any more about that, because how many times do I say Things will change. Lessons will be learned. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I'm tired of saying it. So we can hope. We can hope. But I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of the constant lessons will be learned after the fact of horrific, heinous crimes. And this one was just awful. The aftermath didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen. While they're covering everything up and covering their asses, it all gets worse. So that's all I have to say about that. But that was the Southport monster, Axel Rudakubana. Sorry. Ugh. But yeah, I hope you're all okay. Oh, it's just horrific, isn't it? Just a horrific story. Just vile, but thank you so much for joining me. I am here every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. Tuesdays are my requesting and Thursdays are my stories I like to bring to you. Thank you for joining me. And I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Thank you. How are we all? How are we doing? They need to be padded up with Big Bubba. Yes, I agree. I agree with that. Are you sure not pretending to be tall in front of us? How are we all? I just can't. It's just horrible story. Awful. I just couldn't do the last bit with all the changes and everything else. I just couldn't. All of them were. Yeah, it really was. Jessica, just awful. I've ummed and ahed about this one, about whether to do it, but I just thought not many people have. Not many people have covered this one. And I was like, what a shame. That's a real shame, because I'm presuming it's because people are a bit nervous about, powers that be or whatever. I don't know, but it is. It wasn't about it wasn't even about the kind of political side of it. It was just about what he did and what he done, and it was absolutely horrific. So yeah, just awful. What have you been up to anyway? Have you been listening to me and still letting Kelly? I know 1,000 the other day. 1,000, or wasn't it more? Didn't it go up? It's just ridiculous. It really is. I mean, this one, I just don't. They wonder why people jump. I just can't begin to imagine how it's. Exactly, Tiff. Exactly. And I know, Phil. I know. He was so proud. He actually said he was glad. He said he was happy. He's never shown any remorse. Not a smidgen. Nothing. No remorse. He was very arrogant. And Phil, I'd say with me, what you see is what you get. Unfortunately, you can. Oh, I'm glad you're here, Kelly. I'm glad you're back. We've all missed you. God, I'm hot. I need to put my fan on for a second, guys. I'm sorry. But sorry. I know it's noisy. I know it is. I'm sorry. But it's so bad. I can feel my face has gone all red and everything. So the fans had to come out, unfortunately. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But it's had to come out. My hair's getting wet and all sorts. There we go. I love my fan. Do you love the fan? It looks like a little Dyson one. I know it's noisy. I know it is. But it has to happen. It's not a toy. Stop it. It's my fan. And it's fabulous. It's so noisy for being so little, though, isn't it? It's so tiny. It's so noisy. It's just ridiculous. There we go. Feel a bit better now. I just don't know how to turn it off without ramping it up to 100, and it just gets louder. But there we go. So it's brilliant. So as I used it. You did use it. Yes, you did. I forgot you used it. It is fabulous, isn't it? Gotta stop wrapping my arm around it. So It's hurting so bad, man. I hope they sort it out tomorrow, because they go to Lanzarote soon, guys. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yes. Oh, thank you, Warwick. Thank you. 100%, Jessica. I agreed. Oh, thank you. It's so sweet. It's so. No, thank you, Warwick. Yeah, I had got told not to do it, actually. I had been told. So I was like, is it that? Is it that? Really? But I'm doing it. I'm doing it anyway. So there we go. What can you do? What can you do? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when I post it. If it's not on there and there's none of your chat to know it, you'll know why. You'll know why. They've took the whole channel down. It should be fine. It should be fine, hopefully. But what was I going to say? Yes, because oh, thank you. Have you, Warwick? Oosh. What one have you got for me? What you got? Your ones are really hard, though, Warwick. Your ones are really, really hard. Oh, thanks, Phil. Thank you. Oh, you've all been really kind. Thank you. I was worried about it. I was worried about doing this one. What's your one then, Warwick? Tell me. Tell me, what is it? Tell me now. I need to know. Because I'm probably going to have to start work on it for 6 months. They're always really hard, aren't they? Although the one you gave me before was quite... I shouldn't say good, should I? That's why he's my 100 beats on. Tiffany Murphy. Giles. Oh, what have you done? Do you know, I still haven't looked at the comment. He's odd, full stop. He is. And I need to know what the comment, what the story is, because it's probably odd too. There was a story in Ireland this week on TikTok. The guy was saying he was going to, hold on. He's going to slit kids' throats and the people caught up. Ooh, never. Devon Guzman. Oh, Warwick, I've never heard of that. But I'm going to have to look now. I really don't think I have. Well, it's an unusual name, so if I'd heard of it, I'd remember. But Tracy Thurman. She woman battered her husband in the artist, and the police did not happen. She ended up changing the laws to protect. Oh, okay. I haven't heard of her either. Have I? I've heard of what you're saying she did. I just wasn't sure of the name for yours, Jessica. He was caught on camera saying he was in Dublin. So did they give him a hiding, Kelly? When you say they caught up with him, did they give him a smack, or was he arrested? Okay. What happened? I need to know. Right, Devon Guzman. Right, I'm going to have a look into that. I'll have a look into that when I come off so I don't forget, because it's saved then. I'll have a look. But no, do you know what? I'm terrible, though. I put my videos on TikTok, but I don't actually watch TikTok. I'm really bad. I'm not down with the kids. I'm really not. I'm terrible. I look at Tiffany's and I put mine on. That's it. Look it up. I will. I'll look it up. What happened then, Kelly? Did he get a hiding? Oh, they found out where his camera was, but he got away. I'm arrested. Oh, so the place. They better not release him, because by the signs of it, he'd probably be safer with the police. By the signs of it, fair play to them catching him, though. Well done. I think that's what's needed. I mean, Ireland's really bad now. I don't know if anyone's seen Ireland at the moment, but Ireland's going through its own little hardship at the minute, unfortunately. So that doesn't surprise me. I think they're all coming out in force. They really are. They're coming out in force, aren't they? Oh, okay, Phil, I know it's got late, hasn't it? It has got late. I knew it was going to be a long one. So I'm going to do my jingle. Stay for my jingle, Phil. You can't leave. So, offered. Yeah, find out, Kelly. Find out. Girly love triangle. What's the love triangle? What did I meet? What did I miss? What is he calling it? What's he saying? Oh, that's what he's saying, a girly love triangle. Warwick. Took me a second then. Right. Well, I've got more to thank tonight, haven't I? I've only had like a few over the last couple of weeks. So thank you to Tiffany. I don't know if Hayley's been here. And Kelly and Jessica and Warwick and Phil. I've seen a few on here tonight. Tiffany and Hayley and Jessica. Jilly. Natalie. I'm sure I saw Natalie as well. So thank you all. Thank you all so much. Yes, I said Natalie. I did remember. I think I'd started by the time she joined though. So thank you all so much for joining me this evening. And if you would like to, nothing's changed, Kelly. You have to wait for my jingle. Have to wait. The jingle's still here. It's still a thing. Still a thing. And I'd really appreciate if you could like, comment, subscribe, guys, please. Look, comment, subscribe, guys, please. It's got a bit more aggressive though. I think that's why people aren't subscribing. It's got a little bit more aggressive. Look, comment, subscribe, guys, please. Please. So, I'll see you all on Thursday, though. Have a lovely evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you all so much. And I will see you all Thursday, bright and breezy at 8 o'clock. So, I don't know what story I'm doing, but I'll see you then. So, see you soon. Take care. Thank you, guys. No, finger. Oh, there we go. Take care, guys. Bye.